Have you ever found yourself in the grip of yet another cold, caught in the vice of yet another headache, feeling far below your best? Have you ever wondered, why do some people carry on with their lives unaffected by illness, while others are constantly battling disease? What if I told you that the secret to a life free from the relentless cycle of illness is right at your fingertips? Today you will discover, with the exception of certain genetic conditions, the origin of nearly all disease is not nested in a petri dish or a virus. It is nested right within your way of thinking. Prepare to be astonished when you learn how your thoughts, your emotions, and your deepest beliefs manifest as physical symptoms in your body. This is no ordinary health guide. This is a journey to the very essence of what it truly means to be healthy. The words of Marcus Aurelius land here like a hammer. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. If you are ready to transform your life, bid farewell to illness, and unlock the door to optimal health, let us begin. 1. Uncontrolled desires. In the theater of life, desires play the leading role. They often charge toward the horizon, staging the tragedy of unfulfilled longings. Chasing fleeting pleasures and material gain is a race with no finish line, a pursuit that leaves us breathless and empty-handed. Ultimately, these are nothing more than mirages in the desert of existence. They promise satisfaction, but deliver only thirst. When our desires are not governed by reason and wisdom, they transform into a raging flood. Those who cannot be content with little chase shadows and never grasp the essence of true joy. Life's richness reveals itself in the simple and the humble as well. By tempering our desires, we cultivate a garden of peace within ourselves, where the fruits of contentment ripen in the sunlight of moderation. The chains of desire are forged in the fire of habit. Each link is a choice that binds us ever tighter to the wheel of longing. Yet it remains within our power to break our freedom, to choose a different path. We must understand that freedom is found not in indulgence but in restraint, in a discipline we impose upon ourselves. This is precisely the freedom Seneca speaks of, the freedom that comes from mastering one's appetites rather than being ruled by them. In the balance of our passions, we find the balance of health. Whether gluttony, anger, or jealousy, every excess tips the scale and shatters the harmony that is our natural state. When these passions are left unchecked, they sow the seeds of disease in our bodies and minds. They are the discordant notes in the symphony of our being, jarring and destructive. To master our desires is to master life itself. It is to navigate the world with a compass of wisdom, steering clear of the siren songs that lead so many astray. Then we discover the abundance of having enough. This is the paradox the Stoics embraced. By wanting less, we gain far more: health, happiness, and a profound sense of well-being that no external treasure can match. Let us then embark on a journey of self-discovery and self-mastery, drawing inspiration from the teachings of Stoicism. Let us learn to desire wisely, to wish for what is good for ourselves and others, and to find the greatest satisfaction in the disciplined pursuit of virtue. For in the end, it is not what we possess but what we are that defines our lives. To be a measured, balanced, and wise human being is an immeasurable wealth. 2. Fear and anxiety. The ancient sentinel, fear, stands guard at the gates of our comfort zones, warning us of the dangers that lie beyond. Yet when this protector one day turns warden, we find ourselves imprisoned within walls of our own making. Excessive fear is a shackle that chains us to the familiar in ways that harm our growth. It causes us to paint the unknown with strokes of peril and misfortune. Yet life, at its core, is an adventure, and every hero's journey begins with the courage to cross the threshold. The shadow of fear, anxiety, is a specter that haunts the future and casts doubt upon the promises of tomorrow. It is a thief of joy. It robs us of the peace of the present moment with worries that may never come to pass. This relentless adversary weaves a web of stress that ensnares consciousness and deposits its burden upon the body. The toll is heavy: a weakened immune system, restless nights, and a cascade of ailments flowing from the wellspring of worry. Yet within us lies a force greater than the sum of fear and worry: the power of reason. Marcus Aurelius, one of the forerunners of Stoic thought, knew well the strength that comes from confronting adversity. By saying, "The impediment to action advances action," He taught us that obstacles are not barriers but stepping stones. By facing our fears, we forge the very path we seek. We transmute the leaden weight of anxiety into the gold of resilience. To stand against fear is to stand in the light of our own potential. It is to affirm that we are the architects of our destiny, not the victims of circumstance. When we choose to confront our fears, we do more than conquer them, we transform them. They become a furnace in which our courage is tested and our character is tempered. In this trial of the soul, we discover not only the strength to endure but also the wisdom to flourish. The Stoics counseled us to live in accordance with nature, and nature itself is a testament to victory won against fear. The seedling that cracks the earth, the salmon that swims against the current, the butterfly that emerges from its cocoon, all are symbols of the courage inherent in life. In the natural world, fear is a momentary precaution, swiftly overcome by the imperative to grow, to thrive, to exist. Let us then draw inspiration from the world around us and from the sages who walked before us. Let us embrace fear and anxiety not as enemies, but as teachers guiding us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the cosmos. For in the heart of what we fear lies the treasure we seek: freedom, peace, and the indomitable power of the human spirit. May your journey through the geography of fear lead you to the tranquil pastures of peace and health. 3. Anger and resentment. Anger is a hellfire capable of razing the inner fortress of our being to the ground. It erupts swiftly as a reaction to perceived wrongs, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. Relationships that were once a source of joy and comfort become scorched earth, unable to sustain the tender growth of love. Within the body, the heat of anger inflames the heart, disrupts the gut, and unsettles the mind. Left unchecked, it is a force that can consume our very essence, leaving nothing but ash behind. Resentment is a slow-burning fire. It is an ember that smolders long after the flame of anger has been extinguished. A memory of injury that refuses to fade, a grudge that insists on being carried. This burden is heavy and wears down the one who bears it, eroding the joy of today and clouding the promises of tomorrow. The poison of resentment seeps into our lives, contaminating our perceptions and coloring every interaction with the pain of the past. Yet there is a remedy for these burns, a balm that soothes and heals: forgiveness. Forgiveness is a cool rain that extinguishes the flames of anger and resentment. It is an act of liberation, freeing oneself from the chains of past suffering. To forgive is not to forget. It is to choose healing over poison. It is a gift we give to ourselves, a declaration that we will not be defined by the pain we have endured. Compassion is the companion of forgiveness. It is the hand that binds the wounds of others and of ourselves. It is the recognition of our shared humanity, the understanding that everyone has the capacity to cause harm, and everyone is in need of mercy. When we look upon others with compassion, we see not only the damage done to us, but also their struggles and their pain. In this vision, we find the strength to extend the olive branch of peace, to bridge the chasm carved by anger and resentment. The wisdom of Marcus Aurelius is as relevant today as it was in ancient times. The consequences of anger are, in truth, far more bitter than its causes. For while the causes may be fleeting, the consequences can last a lifetime, shaping our health, our happiness, and our destiny. Yet when we choose to extinguish the flames with forgiveness and compassion, we clear the way for peace and healing to take root in the fertile soil of our hearts. Let us then strive to be gardeners of the soul, tending to our inner garden with care. Let us uproot the weeds of anger and resentment, water the soil with forgiveness, and plant the seeds of compassion. In doing so, we cultivate a garden of well-being, a garden where peace blossoms and the fruits of health ripen. Forgiveness is not the absence of anger, but the presence of healing. It is the grace that mends our wounds. 4. Grief and despair. Grief is the price we pay for love. It is a testament to the bonds that have profoundly touched our lives. It is a universal language spoken by all who have cherished and lost, reflecting the hundreds of subtle shades and hardships of the experience of loss. Yet when grief persists long after loss, it becomes a shadow that darkens the light of life. In this shadow, our health deteriorates, our sleep escapes us, and our minds grow clouded with sorrow. The journey of mourning is a solitary one, but it need not be walked alone. For in sharing our pain, we find consolation and strength. The Stoic philosopher Seneca knew the weight of grief firsthand. His words offer a beacon of hope in the darkness. Grief is light so long as it can take counsel. To take counsel is to reach for a lifeline, to connect with those who can carry us back to the shores of recovery. Our friends, our families, and professionals serve as the crew of our ship, helping us navigate the stormy seas of loss. Their presence reminds us that even in our deepest despair, we are not alone. The process of emerging from grief resembles the changing of the seasons. Just as winter's cold gives way to the warmth of spring, the icy grip of sorrow eventually loosens. The frost of despair melts, and the first buds of hope emerge. This transformation does not happen immediately, nor is it easy, but it is as certain as the rising of the sun. With each passing day, the light grows stronger, and the colors of life return to the world around us. In the embracing arms of support, we find the courage to confront our grief. We learn to carry our memories not as anchors that drag us down, but as sails that catch the wind. They propel us forward, carrying us toward a future where the pain has softened and the love that caused it remains. This is the paradox of loss. In letting go, we hold on to what we value most. For the essence of what we loved is not lost in death. It touches the fabric of our being, indelible and enduring. Let our message to those who mourn be this: though grief may appear an insurmountable mountain, it is only a pass. On the other side stretches a landscape of renewed purpose and peace. Let us walk this path with compassion for ourselves and for others, and know that every step brings us closer to a place where grief is not a burden, but a bridge. 5. Lack of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the silent guardian of well-being, the unseen force that shapes our destiny. It is the steady hand that anchors us when temptation calls. It is the quiet voice that summons us to rise when sloth whispers of rest. In the tapestry of life, self-discipline is the thread that weaves through every aspect and holds the pattern firm. Without it, the fabric frays and the design loses its coherence. With it, we create a masterpiece of health, happiness, and purpose. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who once walked the earth as a slave, knew the true meaning of freedom. It was not the absence of chains that granted liberty, but mastery over one's own self. By saying, "No man is free who is not master of himself," he taught that we must hold tight the reins of our impulses if we wish to steer our chariot along the path of virtue. Self-discipline is the mark of a free spirit. It is the mark of one who has taken control of their destiny and chosen the higher road. The cultivation of self-discipline resembles the training of a warrior. It demands dedication, practice, and an unwavering commitment to a purpose greater than oneself. Through mindfulness, we become aware of the present moment, learning to savor the richness of life without succumbing to excess. Meditation allows us to retreat into the sanctuary of the mind and find peace amid the noise of the world. Goal setting is our map and compass, guiding us through the wilderness of distraction toward the summit of our aspirations. In the garden of the mind, self-discipline is the diligent gardener. It prunes the unruly branches of our desires, waters the seeds of our dreams, and guards against the pests of procrastination and doubt. Under its care, the fruits of our labor ripen and the blossoms of our potential bloom. For the sweetest rewards are the fruits of the greatest discipline. 6. Neglect of the body. Our bodies are the vessels of our existence, the sacred temples in which the soul resides. To neglect this temple is to disrespect the very essence of life. The Stoics understood that the mind and body are inextricably bound to one another. To neglect one is to harm the other. A sedentary and rest-starved lifestyle is akin to allowing the walls of this temple to crumble. It is a disrespect not only to the physical form, but also to the spirit that animates it. Seneca's profound insight likened the body to a noble steed deserving of care and respect. Just as a horse must be fed, exercised, and rested to serve its purpose, so too must our bodies be nourished. Proper nutrition is the fuel that grants vitality. Exercise is the rhythm that strengthens the heart and fortifies the spirit. Rest is the quiet miracle of renewal. This triad forms the foundation upon which a fulfilling life is built. To honor the body is to engage in a daily practice of reverence. choosing foods that nourish rather than deplete, embracing activity as a celebration of capability, and consecrating sleep as a sacred ritual. This daily practice is not a chore but a privilege, a tribute to the miracle of health and the joy of living. In this way, we align ourselves with the Stoic principle of living in accordance with nature, honoring the natural order. The neglect of the body is a silent epidemic that descends upon us under the guise of ease and comfort. Measured in quality of life, its toll is exceedingly heavy. The Stoics implore us to heed this cost and to be conscious that the choices we make today will echo through our tomorrows. By choosing the path of self-care, we invest in a healthy and long-lived future. In the pursuit of physical health, we find a harmony that resonates beyond the individual. A healthy body radiates strength, confidence, and positivity, influencing those around us and contributing to collective well-being. This is a testament to the Stoic belief that the well-being of one is intertwined with the well-being of many. By caring for ourselves, we fulfill our responsibility to the greater community, serving as a source of vitality and inspiration. Let us then embrace the wisdom of the ancients, who knew that the body is not merely a shell, but the crucible of the divine spark. Let us tend to our temples with care and joy, celebrating the gift of health with every nourishing meal, every invigorating movement, and every peaceful sleep. For in the end, the body is the companion of the soul on the journey of life, and to care for it is to honor the journey itself. 7. Ingratitude. Gratitude is the light that reveals the richness of existence. It is the lens through which we see not what is lacking, but what we carry. To live without gratitude is to walk through a world of wonders with eyes closed, to fall prey to the illusion of scarcity and remain blind to abundance. This blindness breeds the mentality of never having enough, a belief that something is always missing. It is a self-perpetuating mindset that generates stress and drains the very essence of vitality. The practice of gratitude liberates us from this cycle. In the tapestry of our lives, gratitude is the thread that wraps us in warmth and well-being, shielding us from the cold winds of discontent. For when we are grateful, we tap into a reservoir of positive energy that nourishes the soul and strengthens the body. The Stoics taught that every moment of life carries a seed. When we approach life with a grateful heart, we are far more likely to notice these seeds and transform them into fruit. Gratitude transforms the soil of hardship, making it fertile for growth. It is an alchemy that transmutes the base metals of our struggles into the gold of wisdom and resilience. This is not merely a feeling. It is a choice. A choice to focus on blessings rather than burdens. A choice that requires practice, for our minds tend to gravitate toward what is wrong rather than what is right. Yet with every conscious act of gratitude, we rewire our brains, creating pathways of positivity that become our default mode of operation. This shift in perspective has profound effects on our health. It lowers stress levels and elevates our overall sense of well-being. Let us then cultivate gratitude as the gardener cultivates the finest garden. Let us tend to it with care, water it with our attention, and nourish it with our intention. May the fruits of this garden be a peace that surpasses understanding, a joy that knows no bounds, and a health born of a harmonious spirit. Ultimately, gratitude is not merely saying, "Thank you." It is living it, in every thought, every word, and every deed. It is the song of the soul that speaks of life's infinite grace. 8. Environmental disharmony. Our environment is the canvas upon which our lives are painted, the stage upon which our story unfolds. When this canvas is overshadowed by chaos, it reflects inward, creating a cacophony within the soul. The Stoics believed in living in harmony with nature, for they knew that our environment is a mirror of our internal state. A chaotic environment breeds a chaotic mind, and from this disharmony, like a relentless tide, arises stress that erodes the very foundations of our health. The air we breathe, the landscapes we behold, the sounds that reach our ears, all contribute to the symphony of our existence. In a world where the air is laden with pollutants, where the eyes meet only concrete jungles, and where the din of industry drowns out the melodies of nature, our well-being suffers. It is as though the very essence of life is being suffocated, leaving us gasping for the breath of tranquility. To restore the balance, we must seek environments that resonate with the rhythm of life, spaces where peace and beauty prevail. Nature is the great healer, the true source of tranquility and vitality. In the embrace of its beauty, the mind finds rest and the body is rejuvenated. The Stoics walked the paths of ancient groves and stood beneath the expanse of open skies, drawing from these experiences the strength to face the challenges of life. They understood that surrounding oneself with nature is to access a wellspring of health, a source that nourishes the roots of our being and enables us to flourish. Yet not everyone has the privilege of living amid verdant landscapes or beneath clear skies. For many, the urban sprawl is the reality of their days. But even in the heart of the city, we can create oases of harmony: a potted plant, a window box filled with flowers, a painting of a pastoral scene. These are touches of nature that remind us of the world beyond the walls. They are small sanctuaries where our souls can find solace amid the tumult. The Stoic practice of mindfulness teaches us to be present in the moment, to find beauty and meaning in the here and now, regardless of our circumstances. Let us then strive to create harmony in our surroundings, for in doing so, we create harmony within ourselves. Let us be the architects of our own tranquility, the designers of environments that uplift and inspire. For in the end, the world around you is a reflection of the world within you. May your environment be a bastion of serenity, a sanctuary where body and mind can thrive in the gentle embrace of nature's harmony. 9. Purposelessness. Purpose is the compass that guides us across the vast ocean of life. Without it, we drift aimlessly, left vulnerable to the existential storms that batter the hull of our being and threaten to plunge us into the depths of despair. This purposelessness can weaken the immune system, exposing our bodies to the relentless assault of disease. Seneca articulated this with crystalline clarity: if a man does not know what port he is sailing for, no wind is favorable to him. The search for purpose is the search for a lantern that will illuminate our path through the darkest nights and carry us to the shores of fulfillment. When we discover our purpose, we understand that every wave we ride brings us closer to our destiny. Purpose is not a distant land to be reached, it is a treasure to be discovered within. It is the golden thread that weaves meaning into the tapestry of our daily existence. When we act with intention, every task becomes a meaningful action, every challenge an opportunity for growth. Purpose transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, infusing our lives with a sense of significance and value. In the pursuit of purpose, we find the antidote to despair. It is an elixir that heals the spirit and strengthens the body. When we live for a purpose, we live with passion and vitality, waking each day with a sense of anticipation, eager to contribute our unique gifts to the world. This enthusiasm is a powerful immune booster, fortifying us against the diseases that prey upon the spiritless. The Stoics understood that purpose springs from virtue and service. To live a purposeful life is to live a virtuous life, to act in accordance with our highest principles and to serve the greater good. In this service we find our true calling, and in this calling we find the strength to overcome all obstacles. For there is no force more powerful than a man guided by a clear and noble purpose. Embrace then the search for purpose with all the fervor of a great adventure. Seek it in the silence of contemplation and in the noise of action, in the solitude of nature and in the company of fellow travelers. For in the end, what matters is not the years in our lives, but the life in our years. A life full of purpose is a life fully lived, a life brimming with health, happiness, and profound fulfillment. May the stars of purpose guide your journey, and may your days be filled with the joy of discovery and the satisfaction of a life well lived. 10. Neglect of the mind. The mind is the citadel of our being, and like every citadel, it must be fortified and defended. To neglect our minds is akin to leaving the gates of the fortress unguarded, inviting the twin specters of anxiety and depression to lay siege. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius knew well the power of the mind over circumstance. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Mental resilience is a bulwark against the storms of life, an anchor that holds us steady in turbulent seas. To exercise the mind is to engage in the noblest of endeavors, to embrace the pursuit of wisdom, to seek understanding, and to experience the joy of discovery. Every act of thinking, every moment of learning, is a step taken on the path toward enlightenment. This path leads away from the shadowed valleys of anxiety and depression, ascending toward the summit of clarity. A well-tended mind is a resilient mind, one capable of withstanding the pressures that would otherwise overwhelm it. The cultivation of intellect is a garden of infinite growth. Ideas take root in the rich soil of curiosity, insights blossom in the waters of contemplation. To neglect this garden is to deny ourselves the fruits of mental health. But to tend to it with care is to savor the harvest of well-being. Meditation, critical thinking, and continuous learning. With this triad, the mind becomes a sanctuary of peace, a refuge against the chaos of the world. In the tapestry of our lives, the threads of thought are interwoven with the fibers of emotion. A mind left untended, frayed by the neglect of thinking and learning, is vulnerable to the dissolving forces of anxiety and depression. These forces pull at the threads, unraveling the pattern of our existence. But a mind tended with the care of a master weaver resembles a tapestry of enduring permanence, one that remains vibrant and beautiful despite the trials of life. The Stoics taught us that the mind is the seat of judgment, the place where we assign meaning to the events around us. When we neglect this seat, we lose control over our judgments, allowing external events to dictate our internal state. When we take ownership of our minds, we reclaim our power. This is the ultimate exercise of freedom, the truest expression of our human potential. Let us then tend to our minds with the same diligence we show in caring for our bodies. Let us set aside time to think, create moments to learn, and open our hearts to the wisdom of the ages. For the mind is the wellspring of our strength, our peace, and our health, the foundation of a life lived with purpose and joy. May the mind be a citadel of peace, a paradise of health, and a beacon of light on the journey of life. 11. Resistance to change. Change is the one constant in the great tapestry of existence, the rhythm of life, the dance of the cosmos. Yet as human beings, we often find ourselves resisting this dance, clinging to the familiar, fearing the step into the unknown. This resistance is a force against nature itself, and it sends ripples of turmoil through our souls. Epictetus reminds us, though we cannot control the hurricane of external change, we possess sovereign power over choosing our response. It is in this choice that we find our freedom and our peace. When we resist change, we resist growth. We become like trees that refuse the nourishing rain, wilting in the drought of stagnation. Change, even when it arrives in the guise of loss or hardship, is the herald of new beginnings. It is the sculptor's chisel that shapes us, the potter's hands that mold us into stronger, more resilient beings. To embrace change is to embrace life in all its fullness, with all its rises and falls and wonders. The struggle against change is a war waged within ourselves, a conflict that exhausts the body as much as the mind. The stress of this struggle can manifest in countless ways, from the tension in our shoulders to the unrest in our hearts. It is a physical language our bodies speak, telling us that the time has come to let go, to flow with the currents of life rather than against them. For in the flow, we find a rhythm that soothes and heals. To yield to change is not to surrender, it is to harmonize with the greater forces at play. It is to accept that life is a river and we are vessels upon its surface. We can steer with intention, but we cannot stop the waters. The wisdom of Epictetus shines here like a beacon, directing us to focus not on the stormy seas, but on the trim of our sails. In the choices we make in trimming our sails, we chart the course of our life's voyage. To accept change is an act of trust, an affirmation that the universe has an order we may not yet perceive but can certainly rely upon. It is a leap of faith, a step into the void with the belief that new ground will rise to meet us. This trust is the antidote to the discomforts born of resistance, the medicine that calms the spirit and restores the body, realigning us with the ever-turning wheel of the world. Let us then be like the willow, flexible and bending in the wind, yet unbroken. Let us move with grace through the seasons of our lives. Let us greet every change, every transition, as a teacher. For in the heart of change lies the seed of transformation, the opportunity to become not merely something different, but something more. May the journey of change be a voyage of discovery and delight, and at every new turn, may it reveal the path to deeper health and happiness. As we draw the curtains on this journey of discovery, let us reflect upon the profound insights we have shared. We have unearthed a treasury of wisdom. Remember, The seeds of health are sown in the fertile soil of a balanced mind, a grateful heart, and a life lived in harmony with one's values. Ultimately, the matter is not merely about escaping disease, it is about cultivating a fortitude of spirit that no illness can diminish. It is about embodying the essence of Stoicism in every breath, every struggle, and every triumph. As you step forward from this moment onward, carry with you the mark of Stoic strength and let it guide you toward a life of profound health. Be Stoic and stay healthy.